Welcome to TMZ Live. There is a new dimension to the video that TMZ posted yesterday showing in 2023 Taylor Frankie Paul attacking her baby daddy, and in the process, one of her children was hit with a bar stool. We have information now about the Department of Children and Family Services in Utah.
Which is the first one of the first things everybody thinks when they watch this video. The moment where everyone cringes and says, and it gets really difficult to watch. That moment when you can hear her daughter, who at the time was 5 years old, on the couch, crying out and yelling, "Mommy."
And she continues just attacking Dakota and ignoring the kid. So you would wonder, I would think, what did DCFS do? We have the answer. Nothing. That DCFS did not remove the children from the house, did not in any way correct her behavior. They did nothing. Now, we should say...
At the time, she had two children.
Right.
That she had with her ex-husband, Tate Paul.
So they have a policy in Utah, and this is a policy that most DCFSs follow around the country, which is whenever possible, don't separate a family, don't remove children from their parents' care. And that was the case here, and they said that they did not see an immediate danger to the child.
They did see the video.
They clearly saw the video because the police got the video, we know, and the police have a mandatory duty to contact DCFS with the information. But the way they saw this, she did not intend to hit the child. And, you know, after the altercation, there was no immediate danger. Now, as for her ignoring the child after the child got struck, whether that constitutes child neglect, our sources connected to that DCFS investigation could not comment. They couldn't say whether that was relevant or not, but whatever it was, they did nothing. Taylor's baby daddy, Tate Paul, did do something.
Right, and so she actually did lose, at the time, she had joint custody. Taylor and Tate had joint custody of their two kids. But after that incident, Tate made a move with his attorney to get full custody, and did get full custody.
Through family court.
Yes, through court. It actually went to court and filed to get custody.
Her lawyer did not really object to it. They didn't put up a fight. They agreed that he would get full custody for a couple of months. She didn't have any contact with the kids. There were conditions there that she had to meet: alcohol education, psychological exams, and other things. And over a period of 6 months, she started getting more and more custody back. And ultimately, they had 50-50 custody after 6 months. Now, we can tell you, and believe this because it's true, that Tate is outraged after we put this video up yesterday.
He had never seen this video, and what we're told is that his efforts to see it, the police would not show it to him.
They said it was confidential.
That it was confidential.
They wouldn't even let him talk to Dakota because they said Dakota was the victim, so he couldn't go to Dakota. So he has never seen this video. He says that Taylor told him that the child was never struck, was never hit, and when he looked at this, we're told, he just went ballistic and would have gone, we're told, he has said that he would have gone to prosecutors and said, prosecute her for child abuse, had he seen that video.
And remember, she was not prosecuted. What she ended up, the plea deal she got was she pled guilty to aggravated assault. They dropped 4 other charges. One of them was domestic violence in the presence of a child. That was part of the plea deal that was dropped.
This is from 2023 that you're about to watch.
I went crazy. I was throwing things.
And this was in your house with Dakota?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I didn't know my daughter was downstairs on the couch. They're usually in their beds when I'm home. We had a babysitter. I came home and she was on the couch and I was throwing stuff. And so I threw a chair towards him and...
At Dakota?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was charged with child abuse because it could have hurt her. I was trying to attack him, and I assaulted him.
So they came, investigated, and then they took you to jail.
Yeah.
So she says it could have hurt her. Well, it did strike her. She failed to mention that.
Struck
and
her,
we're
she
told
had a bump on her head afterward.
a goose egg.
Yeah.
And we're told that she never told Tate about striking the kid with the bar stool. Never told him. She's got another problem.
Yeah, this 2023 case is still open. She's still on probation until August. And the DA we spoke to yesterday, we broke the story that they are reviewing the police report for the February 2026 incident between her and Dakota.
Around 3 weeks ago.
Yes, and that could potentially be a probation violation.
Which means that she would have to serve a sentence for aggravated assault.
That could happen.
If they violate her probation.
If they violate her probation, the judge then has the ability to sentence her to prison because this is a felony. Now, this was an incident where Dakota says that she attacked him both in her house and a car. She says the opposite happened, that he attacked her. But now they're looking at it, and if they decide that it was she who was the aggressor,
she's in trouble.
They go to the judge, and the judge could violate her probation and send her to prison, literally send her to prison. So the stakes here now are...
So the stakes for her go well beyond the Bachelorette. That's over and done with. Now she's got to worry about whether or not she ends up behind bars. That's what Taylor's dealing with. Now, as far as the Bachelorette is concerned, ABC has a huge mess on their hands, and a very expensive one, because they had shot this whole season already, and I don't know if people realize this, how much it costs them to make one episode. It's about $2 million is the budget for each episode, and they have a full season that is not going to air now.
So we're told actually they cut the budget at some point, so it may be a little bit less than that. But one of the things they did, they've only edited one show fully, the show that was supposed to air Sunday night. There were 3 others that were in various stage of editing, and the others have been untouched. They had a huge post-production staff to put it all together, and they're all going to get fired.
Yeah.
And
then there's a lot of people who are going to be out of work now because this season is not going to air.
There's also all the partnerships that gave them free stuff, free stays, hotels, Chippendales.
When they shoot those episodes and they travel places, they have deals. And all
they
those
now don't get promotion for.
Well, not just don't get promotion, but ABC got a fortune for those trade-outs. That's what they're called. And now ABC either is not going to get the money or they're going to have to return the money. So there's going to be a huge fight now between the production company, Warner Brothers Discovery, and ABC over who's going to bear all these losses. But these losses are in the many, many millions of dollars.
Josh here in Florida and Tampa. Regarding everything that's been happening, you know, you would think that once you see a child get involved in like an adult fight, you think everything kind of ends. With all that being spoken, like when I was in the whole, interviewing processes and getting further and further, I've never seen a whole season of The Bachelorette or even The Bachelor. So once you start doing your own research and seeing who could, because they don't tell you immediately who will be like said Bachelor or said Bachelorette. Do your own little research and you see possibilities of certain people. And once you start to see the possibilities, it's like, is this really what I want my face to be on?
Hey, Josh, Josh, I want to make this clear to our viewers. So you went through the process. You were interviewing to be one of the suitors on this season of The Bachelorette?
Yes.
So you're saying you actually did your research about who the prospective bachelorettes were going to be, and you saw that Taylor's name was one of them?
One of the possibilities, just on forums, like let's just say like Reddit or Google searches on just like, Instagram, people are fanatics of these people, or like they have their own little insiders. It's like, oh, there's like three people or these 5 people, and I just did my own little research on the people. Do I remember their names? Not really. But I know from the first glances and like did my own brief little research, like a minute, I'm like, definitely don't want to be part of, I see like it could be a lot of drama involved and stuff. I'm like, not something I want like even my future actual partner to be like, oh yeah, he was part of all this.
But you looked up Taylor. You did some research.
Yeah, like Instagram. I knew that I was a Mormon's wife. I didn't even know what Mormon's wife show was or anything about, but I saw that.
Did you know about the domestic violence incident?
No, that's all new. I was told once the season, like after she's been announced and stuff, that was when, it all came out. I did more research. I was like, whoa. And I just started thinking like, you know, if they tried reaching out, I was like, I definitely don't want to be part of anything.
Hey, you dodged a bullet.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming up.
Really sad news that we had to report this morning, especially coming just 24 hours after we had reported that Chuck Norris had been hospitalized on Thursday. As it turns out, his family announced today that he passed away Thursday in the hospital.
Be right back.
Really sad news that we had to report this morning, especially coming just 24 hours after we had reported that Chuck Norris had been hospitalized on Thursday. As it turns out, his family announced today that he passed away Thursday in the hospital.
The interesting thing about our story, when we broke that he was in the hospital, was that we had actually heard he had passed.
Right. The initial information we heard is that he had passed.
And then we had made numerous calls, and other people had heard the same thing, but the only thing that we could get confirmed was he was in the hospital.
In the hospital, right.
And so it turned out that right around the time we posted, apparently he died.
Right. Now, we don't know the cause of death or what injury, if any, he had suffered.
But it was sudden because...
It was something sudden, because we know that on Wednesday...
He was working out, he was in good spirits, he was laughing, and so something happened very suddenly.
Right. The family is saying that they are...
legend.
Incredible legend. Family is not going to say at this point what the cause of death is, but what is happening, what we do know, is everyone who worked with Chuck Norris is sharing their stories about what an incredible guy he was on set, the quirky stories, and the word I keep hearing from people is just genuine. Very much the guy you saw on camera is pretty much who he was in real life. So joining us right now, someone who had the pleasure of spending a lot of time with Chuck, a former bodyguard, Tom Jones. Tom, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thanks very much. I wish it could be under better circumstances, but I'm happy to be here and talk about my time with Chuck Norris, for sure.
Tom, you and I spoke yesterday when we were trying to figure out what happened here. And you told me such a moving story about the impact he had in your life and the interactions you had. Give our audience the same stories that you told me yesterday on the phone.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. You know, Chuck we all have a ripple effect in life. You know, it's like dropping a pebble in the water. Well, what Chuck was like dropping an iceberg in the water, and the ripple effect that he had on people. And all I can talk about is myself. When I was 21 years old, I met him when I was in the Marine Corps, and I reconnected with him when I got out of the Marine Corps. And I ended up being his sparring partner and part-time bodyguard. And I was picking him up from the airport one day. And as oftentimes happened, a group of kids rushed up to him. And Chuck, one of the many, many great things about Chuck Norris is he was incredibly generous with his time. He made everyone feel important. It didn't matter if you were the gardener or literally the prince of a country. He made everybody feel important, and he was generous with his time. So I was picking him up from the airport. A group of kids rushed up to him, and he got down on one knee. He mentored that group of kids for more than 20 minutes. But one of the things that he did that impacted my life, one of the many things he did that impacted my life so powerfully was, as that group of kids left, and before he stood up, he looked up at me and he said, "You know what, Tom? The more people you can figure out how to help in your lifetime, the more blessed and successful you will be." And that hit me. I mean, I grew up in a very, very troubled childhood. I was removed from my home when I was 12 for child abuse. I was put into a children's facility that was run by pedophiles. And Chuck took me under his wing. And eventually that became the mission statement for my company. I'm a 7-time Muay Thai kickboxing champion. And since 1998, because of that day with Chuck Norris, I've dedicated my athletic ability to worthwhile causes. And if we could all live a life, you know, we all die, but not all of us live. And Chuck Norris was the epitome of living. He lived every minute of his life to the fullest, and he inspired everybody around him to do the same. And that stuck with me for the rest of my life. And since 1998, I've lent my athletic ability to worthwhile causes. And I've done great things with my life because of the influence and the time that I spent with Chuck Norris.
It's really amazing what you just said there, that everybody dies, not everybody lives. Speaking of Chuck's life, what has been amazing to me, even just in our office here, and I'm sure you saw this when you were out with him, the generations of people, and different generations know him for different things. Some people, it's Walker, Texas Ranger. Some people, it's the martial arts movies. And some people, it's just memes. But yet everybody, however they came to know him, felt like this was a really great guy that they wanted to, as you said, you had these kids running up to him, but they probably knew nothing about, his sparring with Bruce Lee, and yet they're still drawn to him. That's just who he was, right?
100%. I think that to draft on what you just said was the thing about Chuck Norris is he was strength, discipline, but the thing, he was so humble and he was so genuine. What you saw on the face of the quarter is exactly what it was. And that was my experience with him. He was so genuine. He was so real. And I think that's why he has been able to touch so many different generations, because he was just so genuine, so humble. And I think that whether we realize it cognitively or not, we pick up on that. And that was one of the things that really made him span through generations of people.
So the last thing I want to know, and I know you must know this, how did he feel about the memes? I mean, they were the most awesome things that I think a lot of us have ever seen. They were so much fun. How did he feel about those?
He loved them. He loved them. And I think part of him loving them was just his personality. He had a great sense of humor. First time we sparred, I touched gloves with him. I mentioned a lot of this stuff in my book, but I touched gloves with him and I just laid a round kick on his face. Whack, red mark and everything. And he just looked at me and he said, "So that's how it's going to be." And I said, "Well, you're kind of Chuck Norris, And anyway, he goes, no. He touched gloves with me. He did a spinning back kick, knocked the wind out of me, and we were great. But he loved the memes. He had a great sense of humor, and he just, I think the example is that he just lived life to the fullest, and that's what I want people to take away from this is we all, like I said, we all die. But let's take an example from Chuck Norris and let's live our life to the fullest, because that's, in my heart and in my mind, I think that's what he would want for everybody.
Okay, man.
Absolutely. We'll leave it there.
Tom, you are fantastic. Thank you so much for the time. And again, we're so sorry.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet moment. It's a life that needs to be celebrated, although the natural inclination is to be sad. But I don't think that Chuck would want any of us to be sad. I think he'd want us to celebrate his life. And for me personally, that's the way I'm taking it, because I've been on an emotional roller coaster since you called me yesterday morning, and certainly since last night. And I've just decided, you know what? I'm going to do what I believe that Mr. Norris would want all of us to do. I am going to celebrate his life. And just like the pictures you're showing, he was such an amazing, amazing individual. The world's lost an icon. But he loved people. He loved people. And I think that's the takeaway from here.
Okay.
All right.
Tom, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tom.
Have a great day, guys.
All right.
Coming up.
There was a guy who went viral because someone in Florida was driving down the road and said, "Oh my God, Jeffrey Epstein is alive."
But wait till you see him from the front, because we are about to show you and talk to him.
He goes by Palm Beach Pete.
Hey, everybody.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
BB Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at.
TMZ.
Earlier this week, we were talking about trigger warnings and whether or not They're really necessary.
We both needed one a minute or two ago.
Yes, because we walked by a monitor here in the newsroom and we saw the person we were about to interview, and you were about to see the person we were going to interview.
So warning.
So warning. Images that appear like Jeffrey Epstein are not actually Jeffrey Epstein. That image, of course, that is Jeffrey Epstein, and we all know the story about him and the investigation that DOJ is allegedly in the middle of. But there's a guy who went viral because someone in Florida was driving down the road and said, "Oh my God, Jeffrey Epstein is alive," because they saw. Yeah, this was the video that went viral.
Epstein is alive. Epstein is alive.
So I got to tell you, you see that from a side view, and it sure does have a resemblance to Jeffrey Epstein. But wait till you see him from the front, because we are about to show you and talk to him and how it has impacted his life.
Indeed. That gentleman is joining us right now. He goes by Palm Beach Pete. And,
hey, everybody.
Pete, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you.
Pete, I am floored. And I'm floored in so many ways because you also live in Palm Beach, Florida, which is the area where Jeffrey Epstein lived. So
have you considered moving?
So just talk to us about how this national scandal has impacted your life.
Sure. Well, I was prepared for it because I've gone viral before, but never to this magnitude. So this random dude was on I-95. He was parallel to my car, and he said, "Look at this guy. This just fell into my lap." He filmed me. He put it up online, hundreds of millions of views, and it's impacted my life. People come up to me. I was at a restaurant. They stopped me. A bunch of Generation Z kids were whispering under their breath, and I went by their table. I said, "Can I help you guys? Are you talking about me?" And they said, "Yes, you're the guy that went viral." I said, "That's me." So I'm recognized. I've always been recognized. When he first got arrested, when he was on the New York Post, I guess he died in 19 or 18. So when he got arrested, when he came back from Paris and they took him to the correctional facility, I was on the Post. I lived in the city, and people were always circling me around me and giving me double looks.
Hold on. Wait. In 2019, you're saying you lived in New York City?
Yes.
Oh,
so you've been everywhere
he goes.
So I was at a hockey game with my kids, and I'm leaving the hockey game, and a guy has an Instagram account called Liquidity. I think it's like a hedge fund account. And he filmed me, and there was a banner that said, "Jeffrey Epstein rising from the grave." That went viral. So that was one incident. Then there was another incident where I was in a background episode of The Real Housewives of New York City. Sonia Morgan gave me a kiss hello. A Generation Zer was watching it during COVID, posted it on TikTok with the banner, "Why is Sonia Morgan kissing Jeffrey Epstein?" That went viral. They had to take that down. So it's not new to me, but this amount of eyeballs is out of control.
What I want to know is when people encounter you, and I'm really serious about this, do they get angry? I mean, do they almost feel like they're no?
No, it's never happened.
Never happened.
Huh.
Even with, because the conspiracy theory is that, you've heard it, I know, that Jeffrey Epstein is not actually dead.
Right.
And so I would think there would be some people,
I've never had an
theorists
encounter,
who would approach you.
Harvey, I've never had an encounter in face-to-face, but the comments online are pretty nasty.
Right. You've got to explain to us, you know, you kind of have your hair like Jeffrey Epstein. Did you ever think about just shaving your hair or changing your look, or are you just embracing this?
I'm me. I'm Palm Beach Pete. I'm a regular guy. I'm retired. I lived in the city for a long time, worked in commercial real estate. I love to play tennis. I'm very social. I'm not going to change. This guy is dead, and he was a really bad person, and I can hold my head high. I didn't do anything. I just happen to have similar looks. I'm just a better looking version than Jeffrey.
Just tell me your wife doesn't have a bob haircut.
She's my former wife, and she's concerned. for my safety because now this is really going crazy viral.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at. You said your wife is concerned for your safety. That because ex-wife,
former wife,
ex-wife concerned about your safety because there are just some crazy people out there, and one who think he's alive, and two think rightfully so that he was an awful human being. That I see why your ex-wife would be concerned.
He is about as bad as they get.
One last question, Pete. Are you a member at Mar-a-Lago?
Not at all.
All right. Okay.
Oh my God.
All right.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That was a good question.
I do live about 3 miles to the south of Mar-a-Lago.
All right.
I'll tell you one other. I do have one other thing. Have you ever run into Trump?
Down here, no, not at all.
Yeah, he doesn't really hang out.
It's funny you say that. Back in the day, when I was living in the city, I went to a couple of parties, and Epstein was there at a party, and he was kind of creepy, just sitting on a couch, staying to himself, and he wasn't the magnitude that he is or was, so he wasn't a big deal. He was mysterious. People didn't know how he made his money and where he, what his story was, but I never really encountered him and had a conversation with him. I just saw him at a party.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Strange life indeed.
Thank you for the stories. We really appreciate it.
All right. Good luck, guys. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Take care of yourself.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Sometimes coincidence is stranger than
oh my God
than reality.
Crazy.
Wow.
Coming up.
Afroman still celebrating his huge victory in court over the sheriff's deputies who had sued him for defamation. We spoke to him yesterday about something that happened outside court that you hadn't seen yet. He had a conversation with one of the deputies who had sued him.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. Afroman still celebrating his huge victory in court over the sheriff's deputies who had sued him for defamation.
He hasn't even changed his duds.
No, he did not. That outfit, that American flag suit, I think he's going to wear that for several days while he's celebrating. We spoke to him yesterday about something that happened outside court that you hadn't seen yet. He had a conversation with one of the deputies who had sued him. So after Afroman defeats the deputies in court.
You should remember, these are the deputies who basically knocked down his door, ransacked his place, never found anything they were looking for, never found any drugs. And that's why he wrote a song trashing them.
He wrote several songs.
And that's why he was sued for defamation, and he won.
So he won, but afterward, one of the deputies walked up to him and listen to how this conversation went. You think it's going one way, and then it goes the other.
One of the officers, he came up and apologized to me yesterday, and he was telling me how he's a Christian and, this, that, and the other. And I told him that, everything was all right. I love him and everything. But I told him when he kicked down my door and when he told me he wasn't going to help me put it back up, I said, you wasn't a Christian right there. And I told him, when you flipped off my cameras, you wasn't a Christian right there. So I told him that even though I don't hate him and I forgive him, I told him I'm still going to sing that song.
So, I mean, ultimately,
hilarious.
He forgives these cops, but he's going to continue profiting off of the music and the music videos that he made, making fun of these cops, which were at the center of this entire lawsuit.
Right. Well, and the judge and the jury said you have every right to do it because it's not defamation.
And so it's actually perfect timing for him because he's actually going on tour right now. So
strike while the iron's hot,
he has been the talk of the internet this entire week with all these viral clips from the different attorneys in the case.
That's the part. I'm telling you, I have never laughed this year. I have not laughed as loud and hard as when I heard
the defense
lawyer, the plaintiff's lawyers, read some of the lyrics to his music, because watching a guy in a gray suit with gray hair reading those lyrics.
I don't think we can show those on
No,
the
you
show.
can't.
Because the
but
language
it was hysterical. It was
things he had to say.
hysterical.
Imagine someone having to read, an attorney having to read the lyrics to...
Of a Cardi B song.
Yes, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion song.
Right, it's that.
Kristen Clemens, Dayton, Ohio. Now, Afroman being disrespected by those cops was crazy. Everybody knows Afroman is a comedian and a rapper. A lot of this was just for the funny. Look at his outfit. Like, can you ever take this serious?
Well, yes.
From the glasses?
No, but wait. He was before a jury. So he wore that for a reason. It's freedom of speech. It's America.
He's doing it for America.
So I agree with you that it's kind of over the top, but there was kind of a message in there.
Okay? He looks like Independence Day. He's showing y'all this is American justice. Real American man.
All he needed was a torch.
New York City Mayor Mamdani is in the middle of a controversy, not of his own doing, but of his wife's. And she has today deleted an X account that she had where people have called out some things she has posted in the past, long in the past.
2013 to be precise.
But still, the language that was used really obviously was called into question. Some of it we can't show, but obviously we've censored some of these. Why are all these blank following me? She used the F word, a homophobic slur. And then in another one, she used F word and the N word. Yeah. So, and then there were other things that had been posted about October 7th. Some alleged posts seemingly celebrating people connected to terrorism. So,
and this has been kind of dogging him really since he decided to run for mayor.
Even on the campaign trail. So it came up again.
And still.
Came up again recently, obviously, with these posts being called out. This is what the mayor had to say about his wife.
I'd like to know what your reaction was to the article in the Jewish Insider that was posted about your wife's social media activity. And what I'm wondering is, you're an elected official. She is not. Is it anybody's business, and is it fair to question you about it?
My wife is the love of my life, and she's also a private person who has held no formal position on my campaign or in my city hall. I, however, was elected to represent all 8.5 million people in this city, and I believe that it's my responsibility, because of that role, to answer any questions about my thoughts and my policies and my decisions.
He ducked the question. He just ducked the question.
That was a very adept political
I think
response.
it was pretty transparent.
Well, so I will say, obviously there is never an excuse for hate speech. She was a child when she posted these tweets.
How old was she?
She was 15 years old. She had nothing to do with Mamdani at the time. So it really has nothing to do with him, except for the fact that he is now married to this girl who, as a teenager, said some, hateful, bad, wrong things on Twitter.
I didn't realize she was that young.
She was 15 years old.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't realize she was
it's
only in
people
her
are
late
always
20s.
looking for a way to cancel somebody.
No. The problem is
Mamdani,
that there's a sentiment that has kind of persisted to this day that people talk about, and it's unclear exactly how they feel, but there's a sentiment about anti-Semitism, and and so. And
I guess
I just wonder why not just say, hey, those words are terrible, and
something she said.
Something she said when she was a kid and disavows.
If he had said something kind of like what you just said, Janet, that would be less dodging of the question. That would be actually answering, this is what happened.
It happens.
But he didn't do that, and so I could see where some New Yorkers might still have questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I mean, politicians dodge questions, and he kind of presented himself as somebody who was an alternative to a politician. This felt like a politician's answer.
What about him saying that she's a private citizen? Certainly she was when she posted those things.
But is she now?
I think,
is she now?
Are you a private citizen? Is Melania Trump a private citizen?
Well, does she? I don't know the answer to this. Is she does she have an official position on his cabinet? Or
So in that sense, well, neither does Melania.
And neither does Melania.
I thought Melania does a lot of stuff, though.
She does stuff.
She does.
But probably the mayor's wife does too. You do stuff doesn't make you a public figure.
Hi. Hi, I am Jeray Malay, and I'm actually from Jersey. I think that, no politician is without a scandal, including their spouses. But again, we are going off of very old, unverified information. I think that if anything, he should lean into it and offer an opportunity for some dialogue, offer some reassurance from his constituents. And, I think we're having two conversations, right? It's one about what we're going to say about our trust with our politicians, but then also two, like how much are we internalizing social media behaviors, especially as children, right? So I think he should lean into it and we should kind of get some clarity at some point.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Shia LaBeouf is back home in New Orleans and already having yet another run-in with police, although this time it seems that he's the one who called police to his home.
Be right back.
Shia LaBeouf is back home in his new home in New Orleans and already having yet another run-in with police, although this time it seems that he's the one who called police to his home, but he still was not happy with the interaction and, in fact, got kind of heated in a conversation early Friday morning with officers outside his home.
It's my fault. It's my fault. Right. I'm a terrorist in who I am. I'm a target. My history. I'm a target. I'm a target. So I've been sitting here for 4 months to punch one man. I don't trust at all. I don't trust you at all. What are you talking about? Okay. It's why I never call you. Okay. Come get in the car.
Oh, he's melting down. It just seems
help.
He's really
guys in a
He's in a bad way. He's really going through it. The end of that video is the most alarming. Obviously, the heated confrontation where he's lifting up his shirt and saying, saying I've been in jail for a bunch of. But at the end, he's in hysterics. I mean, he is broken down. Said, "This is why I never call you." The transition from his life in L.A. as a big movie star to what's going on in New Orleans. He definitely had issues here, but in New Orleans, it's been all downhill. He's had the battery. He's gotten in confrontations with
what was this
bar
patrons?
It sounded like, from what we could hear on the video, something about a car, and I don't know if there was damage to his car, if it was stolen, but he called police for some reason. Maybe he felt like somebody was outside.
Well, you can hear him say, "I'm a target. I'm a target. I'm a famous person here in New Orleans."
He called the police because he felt concerned that something was happening to him potentially.
But you see at the end,
But the weird thing is, he called the police for help and then
said, "I don't trust."
That's
you.
right.
Right, and then he's crying, and you see the police leave. The cruisers leave, and
he
he's
was not,
and
we should
he's
be clear, he was
yeah,
not
he wasn't arrested or anything. He was the one who called the authorities, but he's going through something very serious.
This is a literal and figurative cry for help when you listen to this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really alarming.
Hi, I'm Ariana. I'm from Atlanta. While it's really sad to see how far Shia has fallen, New Orleans is not the place for that. I could tell him that one thing. But at the end of the day, he should have gone to Aruba or Fiji if he wanted to not trust police.
I think this is way deeper than whether you trust or don't trust police. There is just the mental state seems so fragile.
It just seems, that he's been spiraling since he arrived in New Orleans. And you heard him reference his arrest for when he got into that fight during Mardi Gras.
Right.
And he's still got to deal with all of that. So
wow,
not looking good.
Coming up.
Dennis Rodman, already a Hall of Famer, is now about to be a two-time Hall of Famer because NBA wasn't enough.
No.
Now the WWE wants to put him in.
Be right back.
Well, Dennis Rodman about to get a new honor. Oh, by the way, Harvey had to step away for a moment to make a phone call. But Dennis Rodman, already a Hall of Famer, is now about to be a two-time Hall of Famer because NBA wasn't enough.
No.
Now the WWE wants to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. This is an actual real thing. April 17th in Las Vegas, WrestleMania weekend, he is going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And he was an actual real part of...
He and Hulk would wrestle together, right?
NWO, 1997, Charles, joins the promotion. And, I mean, he shared the ring with some of the biggest names out there. I mean, Lex Luger, Macho Man Randy Savage, obviously, like you just said, Hulk Hogan. And he really... He was a big deal in wrestling.
And he seemed to enjoy it. But Dennis was always, even in the NBA, had a WWE sort of... He seemed like a WWE character when he was playing basketball.
Right. Ebby from London. Dennis Rodman played for Chicago Bulls. He tag teamed with Hulk Hogan in WWE. And now he's being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he set an impossibly high bar. I'm just saying no one's going to be repeating that anytime soon.
Yeah, there will be very few people that are in the NBA Hall of Fame and the WWE. But yes, Dennis got it. What else you guys want to talk about?
Hi, my name is Maddie from St. Louis, and I'm talking about Taylor Frankie Paul. I just want to say it seems like everybody is getting protected in this situation except for the children. I'm very happy to see that they're being psychologically evaluated. The fact another child between Dakota and Taylor was brought into this afterward is just absolutely terrifying to me.
Yeah, I mean, you think about that as brutal and just upsetting as that fight was. After that, Dakota and Taylor did not have a child together at that point. And after he went through all of that, they made the decision to, one, get back together and to have a child. Go figure. One more.
Hey, this is Frankie from Washington, D.C., and we're talking about the Afroman situation.
Yeah.
You know, I just saw the article, and I think it's one of those situations where it's kind of like, you know, you take the negative and you try to make a positive situation out of it, which is something that a lot of celebrities, I feel like, always do. They take a moment in their lives and they kind of try to add it to their art so that other people can kind of understand it. So it's like, don't hate the game, hate the player type of situation.
Yeah, I mean, clearly Afroman was just trying to, as you say, make lemonade out of lemons, and then ended up being in the middle of a First Amendment case. So now he gets to walk around in that U.S. flag suit for who knows how long.
Coming up.
You know, if it's good enough for Timothy, it's good enough for Kylie, too. We know that Timothy Chalamet fancies himself a bit of a rapper.
Yep.
Kylie, let's not forget, Kylie also has some rapping experience, and she's going back to the well.
King Kylie well.
Be right back.
You know, if it's good enough for Timothy, it's good enough for Kylie, too. We know that Timothy Chalamet fancies himself a bit of a rapper.
Yep.
Kylie, let's not forget, Kylie also has some rapping experience, and she's going back to the well.
King Kylie well.
Featured on a new song. Check out the styling of King Kylie.
I just walked inside this club and all these bitches, yeah, they grabbing on me.
So, I gotta say that when you think about
Remember, Kim did this also.
I know it's a tiny little thing,
she's
but this is you want Kylie Jenner to put this on her social media, and there are millions of people going to see
artist,
it. They'll
Yeet,
listen to the song.
You get why Yeet would want to put Kylie on. He's going to get a lot more ears listening to his song.
Well, why wouldn't he give her a little more than just that?
I mean, we haven't heard the full song. You know what? Listen to the full song on your way home. I'm sure you just crank it up in your car.
She should just do Baby's Got Back. That's what I think. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.